After reading everyone's replies and the messages, I took the weekend to let it all sink in and harden my resolve. I came to the conclusion that I was never going to be able to live with myself if I stayed with her. Staying and working on it would mean having to sacrifice a significant portion of my self-respect. I also realized that I want no part of a relationship that would require me to be in a state of constant vigilance for signs of betrayal. So I decided to push the proverbial red button and nuke it all. Here is how it all went down. Monday, I woke up early to an unexpected surprise. When I opened my eyes, my Johnson was greeting me at full attention. Guys, I can't stress how surprising that was to me, considering that since finding out about Ellie's affair I had not had morning wood. It was like my body was saying, hell yeah, we are gonna get this done today and be done, ready for something new. I actually laughed so hard at seeing it that Omar and his wife came to check in on me thinking I was having some sort of mental breakdown. I got up, got ready and called Ellie's dad and told him we needed to talk. I met up with him about an hour before our MC. The whole drive there I was surprised at how calm I was about it. I could still feel an ocean of emotions somewhere deep down, but on the surface I was not feeling anything. We met up at a little mom and pop breakfast place near his house and we sat down. Ellie's dad is a good man, lighthearted and funny, but more importantly he is level-headed. I thanked him for how he and his wife had treated me all these years and told him I was sorry to have this talk with him. He listened patiently, but as I started telling him why I was going to be divorcing his daughter he lowered his head. I could tell he was ashamed and angry. Not at me, but at Ellie. He told me he understood, and I asked him to not tell Ellie as I was going to be telling her within the hour. He agreed, we shook hands, and then he told me to take care. I hated having to shatter his image of her. I debated with myself if I should have asked him to care for her, but I shouted down that instinct because he is her dad, of course he will care for her. But also it is no longer my business to care for her. She is a big girl. Next I went to our schedule's MC session. I had been rehearsing all day Sunday what I would say to her and how I would say it. I wanted to essentially emotion-proof my actions and words for the next few hours. I sat there in the parking lot for 10 minutes and just prayed. I hadn't felt like I wanted to or could since all this started. When we sat down for MC, Ellie was wearing one of the dresses I loved to her, and for a split second I forgot everything, but then the visceral disgust and anger I felt pushed the attraction completely out. I let the counselor get things going like our previous sessions, and after about 10 minutes of her and Ellie talking I interrupted. This is how it went. Excuse me. I have a few things I need to say and to Ellie and that I wanted to be able to say here, with a neutral third party. If at any point I am interrupted I will simply leave and that's that. Ellie, I have come to realize I do not need to know if this was the only time you cheated. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know how long it went on for. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know how many times you cheated. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know why. Even if there was a good reason, a perfect why, it also would not matter. The only thing that matters is that you did. I know now the only facts that matter. You were never going to have children with me. At this, Ellie opens her mouth to interject and I started walking to the door, so she immediately backed off. You were going to string me along for however long it would take. You were going to cheat on me sooner or later. This is when the waterworks started to open up for her. You do not respect me or love me. The counselor begins to look like she is about to interject and I respond by taking another step towards the door, which ends that my lawyer is filing for divorce as we sit here. And as of about an hour ago, your father knows the entire truth of what has been going on. Do not contact me. From here on out, the only person we will communicate through our lawyers. These are the last words we will ever exchange. Goodbye. I walked the last few steps to the door and walked out. As soon as I closed the door, I heard a wail the likes of which would haunt people's dreams. She scrambled out of the office pursuing me and tried to stop me, telling me how sorry she is and how we can start a family and to give her a second chance as she cried hysterically throughout. I pushed past her and got in my car and left. At this point, that ocean of emotions that had been quietly hiding underneath it all started roiling, and I was barely holding it in. I drove to my parents' house and sent the text message I had planned to Ellie's best friend's husband. When I got home, my old man was at the store, but Mom could tell I wasn't well. She has always been able to read me like a book. I told her I needed to tell her and Dad something important, and we sat down and waited. At this point, I have to thank Responsible Mode 114 for messaging me. We chatted and he totally calmed me down. About 30 minutes later, Dad arrived. I poured it all out. The more I talked, the more I felt that ocean of emotions empty and all that pain pouring out of me. When I finished talking to my dad, he just held me as I cried into his shirt for a solid 20 minutes. When it all ended, I felt spent and oddly at peace. I have arranged for Omar to receive a Harley he has been eyeing for a while. He has been more than a friend to me, and I am going to try my best to be as good a friend to him as he has been to me. I can't wait to see his face. I think this is the last time I will post, as it should be the end of this story. I just want to thank you all. Would have never thought that I would find sound and sane advice from strangers on the internet. I know that it will be a long road ahead, that I will still need to deal with the aftershocks of this debacle and rebuild my ability to trust. I have to hope that little by little all this pain and sadness and anger will go away, like Roto-Rooter for my soul if I do the work. Now begins the rest of my life, and I can honestly say I am looking forward to it. My first love left me for her ex-boyfriend. I can't move on and I'm so tired. My ex and I dated for 7 months. I'm 25 and she is 21. She was my first everything. First GF, first sex, first real love. She got to know me like no one ever before, and I had the chance to know a lot about her too. Before we started to date, I knew her for about a year. When we started to date, she was a couple of months past from being dumped by her boyfriend, but she didn't seem that upset. She was the one that flirted with me and asked me out first. Our date was amazing, and she suggested that we went to my apartment to keep the night going. It was my first time and I was dead nervous. She was so lovely and comprehensive. We started to see each other every week because the pandemic began. I would drove for an hour just to see her every week and spend the day with her. I tried to be the best boyfriend I could. I was so proud of the things she was doing, her accomplishments. I was discovering more about her and her family, and I honestly fell in love because I could see her flaws and decided that I accepted them and still cared a lot. During this pandemic, I stayed with her to give her safety and comfort during these uncertain times, and she always said how amazing, incredible, and beautiful I was. I would randomly bring her flowers that I saw on the way home. I would cook her breakfast when she slept at my place, and I would be the best person I could to make her feel loved and cared. After 5 months, the ex that dumped her came looking for her and how he regretted leaving her. She became really cold towards me. We weren't having sex anymore and she would barely text me. Then one weekend she broke up with me to focus on herself and heal better from past relationship. She cried and said how special I was and that I must be an angel or something. After a few days she went to travel with her ex-boyfriend to the place I was suggesting her that we should go. That killed me inside. They were talking behind my back and she was in love with him all along, just using me to forget about him, and when he got back I wasn't necessary anymore. All of this happened almost 6 months ago and I haven't talked or seen her since. I know they are still together and I'm still so hurt. My first love was a lie and I was a quick fix for someone. Even after all this time I miss so much the girl I thought she was. I'm feeling like garbage still and I can't move on. Today I accidentally saw a book she gave me because was her favorite. I sat down and cried like it all happened yesterday. I shouldn't care for someone that doesn't care about me and left me for an ex. But there isn't a day that I don't wish her back and would do anything to see her again. I dream about her and my heart is so heavy. I still love her, but please, I don't want to love her anymore. I just want this pain to stop.